And your ability as an entrepreneur to take advantage of an opportunity will depend on the opportunity itself, how well matched it is for you as the entrepreneur, and the skills, expertise, advantages you bring to that opportunity. But you still need to build a good product. You want to build something that compels people to switch from what they're using right now to what you've built. It has to be compelling. April Dunford says every successful product has a unique point of view. And the iPhone is a good example. Before the iPhone, there were other smartphones. BlackBerry was the category leader. People made fun of Steve Jobs for even going in to the category because it was already wrapped up. BlackBerry had done it. But the iPhone had a unique perspective on the category. Steve Jobs and the team at Apple made something compelling. When they launched the iPhone, people were compelled to switch away from BlackBerries and Nokias to the iPhone. Now, none of us are Apple or Steve Jobs, and in fact, I don't even like using him as an example. But if we're already paddling in the water, if we're recognizing opportunities and what people want, we can come up with compelling ideas in our products that are so good that people want to switch from what they're doing already to what we've built. A good example of how you can pair your insights about a market with a product that actually meets that demand is WP Engine. WP Engine went into an extremely crowded category, WordPress hosting, but they were responding to a pain that they saw in the market. And that pain was that other providers had tons of outages. If your website ended up on a site like Hacker News, your whole site would go down. Or if a WordPress plugin you were using got infected by a virus, it would take you all day to fix your website. WP Engine solved both of those pain points. And something similar happened with Transistor. We had a few insights that ended up being correct. The first was that people wanted to be able to start as many podcasts as they wanted to without having to pay for additional shows. So if I had a good idea for a second or third podcast, I would be able to do that on Transistor without having to pay more money. And we've seen this reflected in the reasons people switched to Transistor. For example, this customer said the biggest reason for switching to us from SoundCloud was being able to host multiple podcasts for one price. They also talked about the UI being more friendly. Again, one of the advantages of going into an existing category is a lot of the incumbents are old and crusty. Their UI and user experience isn't that great. And we were able to offer a better experience than, in this case, SoundCloud. But we've seen this reasoning come up again and again with customers who have switched to us. They like our UI. Some of them have been personal fans of John and I. We're always updating the app, but keeping it really simple. And we're a small company. And some folks just want to support the indies. You know, they want to support the small indie shop as opposed to big companies that are owned by Spotify. Building a killer product really means finding a group of people who are already in motion, trying to solve a problem on their own, and then you come along with your product and you eliminate obstacles in their path. You give them progress at work. You provide them with status. You generate good feelings. You remove future threats. You bestow superpowers. You take away friction. This is still how we do product development at Transistor. We look for opportunities to remove friction. Like, what if you could automatically tweet new podcast episodes as soon as you publish them? Or what if we made it easier to submit your podcast to Spotify, Apple, and other podcast players, all from the same place? Or what if we gave you superpowers by allowing you to hook Transistor up to Zapier and connect with all sorts of other apps around the web? And the way you spot these opportunities to make customers' lives better, to give them something that they're willing to switch to your product for, is you listen. You listen to what people are complaining about on Twitter. You observe people in their struggle as they're trying to accomplish a task. This is how we came up with the idea for private podcasting. And we were one of the first podcast hosting providers to really do this in a serious way, including the ability to notify private subscribers by email and giving them the ability to listen to episodes right in a web browser without having to add the podcast to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anything else.